This is a CFMoto MT 700. It's the third bike that we've ridden apart from the 675s, and it's not a bike that's immediately on the cards for India, but it's a bike that I find really very interesting because it offers frankly phenomenal value. To quickly talk you through this motorcycle, it has a 693 odd cc engine, parallel twin. That's why they call it the 700. Now the company isn't saying this, but I think it's based on the old 650 engine that they used to sell that was very closely benchmarked to the Kawasaki engine, and in that sense it feels very similar. It's not got the 270-degree crank sound. It's a more gruff feeling engine, but a real workhorse. It's got excellent tractability, well-spaced gear ratios, and honestly it's a good performer no matter what you ask of it. There are not really very strong vibrations. The handlebars nice and smooth. You do feel the thrum of the engine in the foot pegs, but it doesn't really get bad even higher up in the rev range. Now today's road ride was very chill. On most motorcycles the gentle pace would have actually annoyed me, but it was enjoyable on this bike. We rode through some narrow country lanes, beautiful scenery, and this just feels like a really good tourer for you to take it all in. Good drive, good tractability, good spread of gears, easily holds second, third gear on roundabouts, sit in sixth gear, 110, 120 kilometers an hour. Everything is very calm. That's one aspect of what makes this a really nice tourer. The other aspect is just the size and the feel of the motorcycle. Now, the riding position in some ways is very nice because it's just an 800mm seat height. That's really good for a bike this big, but it's also quite wide, and there were shorter riders today who were struggling to get both feet on the ground. That is something to keep in mind. The bike itself feels really large, but it's manageable. The steering is light. What I found interesting is that I haven't really experienced this in many bikes, but there's a really long reach between the windscreen and you. I feel like this is about 3 feet away, and that's unusual. Now it has an adjustable windscreen that you can do with one hand, but you're really going to stretch forward to do it. The upside of this is that the wind protection is actually quite nice on the bike. I kept the windscreen up. It was raining for most of the day, really cold, and it wasn't too bad. You've got this little bit of wind protection out here. The windscreen works well. The bike is really comfortable. Seat is comfortable as well. Okay, that is what the riding position looks like. Beyond that, there are some accessories on some of the bikes we rode. This has a heated seat. The heated seat gets really, really hot. It also has heated grips, which don't get so hot. But at this price point, which I'll get to in a bit, that's really good value for money. You also get switchable ABS. You can turn off the rear ABS. You've got traction control, and that's about it. No quick shifter, nothing like that. It's a mechanical cable. So this is a large motorcycle, and if you spec it with the accessory 3 aluminum panniers, which we had on our test bike today, that goes up to 258 kgs. So that's really full-size adventure bike, R1300 GS, that sort of territory, even heavier than that. So it is a big bike, but it's also going to be really affordable. Now get this, the price in Europe for Italy is 6,900 euros. That is about the price of a Z650 in that market, and it's more affordable than the new KTM 390 Adventure R, about the price of the 390 Enduro R in that market, and that is just amazing. Why I think this pricing is so incredible, it's because you get really nice equipment on this bike. The suspension at the front is adjustable for damping. It's also rebound and preload adjustable at the rear. You've also got a really nice 5-inch TFT display, very crisp, smooth animations, really nice to use, and it just feels like a big, capable, comfortable tourer. At its heart, this is basically a road touring adventure bike. It may look like a big off-roady sort of thing with those spoked wheels, which by the way are tubeless spoked wheels, another amazing thing that you get at this price. But when you look at the specifications, you'll realize there's only 150 mm of suspension travel at both ends, which is nowhere close to an off-road motorcycle. So this is good for light off-roading, dirt roads, but it's not really the most plush thing. That being said, within that 150 mm of suspension travel, the control is really nice. The bike soaks in the roads really well, but if you're going to hammer it bad roads, I think you will feel that a little bit. It's not going to absorb it like something with a lot more suspension travel would. Nevertheless, as a do-it-all adventure touring motorcycle, something to take you around in great comfort, I am really impressed by this bike. I'm also impressed by the overall fit and finish and quality. It feels premium. It does not feel like you have bought a cheap, compromised motorcycle, which was the worry in the old days with Chinese bikes. Things really have changed, especially with these CFMoto motorcycles. Now, what remains to be seen is what it's like in the after sales. There are two aspects there. The first aspect is reliability, and these bikes are proving themselves in Europe, in Australia, and that's why they're getting a strong following in these markets. That's a good sign. The other aspect is what the after-sales support is like, what the dealer network is going to be, how well equipped they're going to be to service these bikes in terms of spare parts, what they're going to cost. That is something that we'll only see as these motorcycles come into India. Now, this is not going to be one of the first CF Motos to come into India. I think that will be the 450 MT, which is a great bike for our market. But I think this motorcycle really should be on the cards at CF Moto because it's giving you a genuinely nice riding experience, a feel-good motorcycle, a capable motorcycle, and it comes at a great price. And who doesn't like that? So that's how I'm going to sum this up. This is another taste of what CF Moto has to offer. Modern day CF Moto is making some great motorcycles, clearly, and the competition needs to notice these bikes because they're giving you a lot at very good value. Things look good, and if you're on the lookout for a large bike at a reasonable price, I think you should wait and see what these CF Motos are all about.